Now on CoastTV News.
Riding on winter roads. We skirted a big snowstorm, but with below freezing temperatures, how slick are the back roads near the beaches?
It's another morning of single-digit wind chills on Delmarva, tracking plenty of sunshine. We creep above the freezing mark today. Can we actually do it for the first time in a week? Plus details on some light snow chances this week.
Plus, coastal winds fuel erosion.
These are tremendous waves with potential to do damage.
How these recent cold and windy conditions are causing concern.
And snow disrupts air travel. What effects the storm in North Carolina is having here.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And you are looking live at Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. To quote the great Bill Murray, it's Groundhog Day. Again, festivities are underway as we await the analysis of whether we will have more winter or an early spring. From Punxsutawney to Bethany Beach, the top concern today is the wind and how it could impact Delmarva's coast. We have our eye on the beaches, and the storm across the Carolinas is impacting our beaches here on Delmarva.
That's right, Matt, and this is a live look from the First Alert Weather Jeep. Inside of it is our Lisa Weber, and we'll catch up with her in just a moment. But first, let's check out the scene here along the southern Delaware coast. Any moment now, here's a look at South Bethany. Not many people on the roads yet, and we know one thing is for certain. Those frigid temperatures are lingering this morning, and snow isn't the issue today, but rather the wind.
But first, we welcome you to Coast TV News Today and our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026.
Grace, some of us have cabin fever, to borrow a line from the Jimmy Buffett song, and are hoping that the groundhog does not see his shadow in about 1 hour from now.
We were just mentioning how our polls from last week that we took from our viewers, you guys are all saying that you're kind of done with this cold weather.
And you're not? Okay.
I think there's just a lot of fun to be had, specifically on the Delmarva coast when it is so beautiful out.
Temperatures.
I mean, you could take out your kayak, you could take out your boogie board, you could go grill on your back patio, or maybe those are just some of Matt Pensick's favorite activities, right?
In the spring, yeah.
In the springtime. I know you're looking forward to that. Have some baseball on.
Yeah.
Have someone else who's looking forward to some baseball because maybe their hockey team isn't doing as well as they wanted to.
No, they're not.
That's First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, it's been a cold winter for my sports teams. Well, at least the Flyers, that's concerned. Let's take a live look into Lewis. So you see the full moon there? A very cold start to the day across the area. We're at 20 in Lewis. Now, we still do have some coastal flood advisories up for coastal Sussex County. We could see up to 1.5 feet of inundation through the high tide cycle here over the next hour or two. High tide rolling in at 7:50, and this is just some residual effects from that coastal storm that passed to our east. We're holding at 21 Indian River Inlet, 19 in Georgetown. We're at 21 in Milford. Wind chills feels like 9 in Milton, feels like 9 in Salisbury, and 7 in Harrington at this hour. Wind flow out of the northwest with some gusts to 22 in Ocean City, 27 in Indian River Inlet. We have clear skies across the area this morning, and that's the way we're going to stay. We are keeping an eye on a clipper system well off to the west that could bring a round of some light snow tomorrow night. So we're venturing to near the freezing mark for the first time in nearly a week this afternoon. And yes, we're tracking a series of clipper systems that will bring a few light snow chances through this week. No big storm systems on the horizon. Temperatures getting up to just above that freezing mark this afternoon. A beautiful day under mostly sunny skies. Winds will relax themselves through the afternoon. I'll have more coming up in your 7-day forecast here in a little bit.
Thank you, Chris. And our top story this morning is the cold weather, road conditions, the beach. Chris also mentioned that coastal flood warning.
And our Lisa Weber is live in the First Alert Weather Jeep. Elisa, you're in Bethany Beach, which experiences flooding on the bayside.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. Right now we are driving through Bethany Beach, going to give you a view from outside. These back roads here in Bethany oftentimes experience severe flooding with coastal rain that we experience. As you can see, there is a clear road, but there's a lot of ice on the sides of the road. Some of those back roads do have a sheet of black ice. It's really hit or miss. One street will be okay. The next will be covered in black ice. It's something you need to keep in mind. We actually see someone out here walking this morning, going for their early morning exercise. Good for them because it is really cold out there. You want to be careful if you are walking the dog, going for a walk on your own because of all of that black ice. We mentioned earlier the winds are also picking up this morning, so that cold outside, it's just feeling even more brutal with that wind. It's bone chilling outside. Make sure you're wearing lots and lots of layers. Give your car extra amount of time to warm up this morning. But here's just one more look outside in Bethany Beach. There is some black ice on the side of your screen. You can see that right there. So again, just be cautious this morning. We will have another update for you later on.
Lisa Weber in the First Alert Weather Jeep. Thank you for that. Be sure to download the Coast TV app for your phone and tablet. We've been using it for special storm coverage, but all of our news is always on this. You can also get the Coast TV streaming app for your TV with devices like Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
And the roads may be clear there in Ocean City, but the freezing and windy conditions could still cause problems in that coastal town, and that's erosion. Howard Schwartz is staying in Ocean Pines at his second home to make sure nothing is damaged during the cold snap, and says he's concerned about this erosion.
Definitely concerns about erosion, and the waves hitting the input are very similar to the waves we've had when we've had hurricanes in the past and nor'easters. These are tremendous waves with potential to do damage.
The conditions are bringing rough waves in Ocean City, which could contribute to erosion. Has been an ongoing issue along Delmarva's coast.
As freezing temperatures continue, a lot of this ice, as we just saw from Elisa, still hasn't melted. Several schools across Delmarva will have 2-hour delays this morning, including Laurel, Seaford. A lot of those on the midshore, Caroline County, Dorchester County, and Talbot County. We do have a full list of closing and delays. Not only schools, but churches and other places as well, right at the top of our website on CoastTV.com.
Some things to know. Health officials in Dorchester County are advising the best ways to avoid frostbite and hypothermia if you must be outside. That's according to the health department. The first layer of clothing should be items that keep you dry. The second layer should be made out of fleece or wool to keep you warm. And the agency says the outer layer should be waterproof and wind resistant, ideally with a hood. Dorchester County Health Department says mittens are better than gloves as they allow your fingers to share warmth.
The Delaware Department of Health and Social Services is opening warming centers starting today through February the 6th. That's Friday. They will run from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. In Sussex County, it's at the Shipley State Service Center, Adams State Service Center, and the Laurel State Service Center. Got two to tell you about in Kent County, William State Service Center and Smyrna State Service Center. And then a couple in Newcastle County, Canby Park Office, Claremont State Service Center, and Churchman's Corporate Center.
New overnight, North Carolina Governor Josh Steen says a historic snowstorm blanketed the state. Steen says that all 100 counties saw snowfall and hazardous conditions that will persist for days. The governor confirms more than 1,000 collisions occurred over the weekend, including 2 that turned deadly.
Black ice is going to remain a risk throughout the week because of below freezing nighttime temperatures. For your own safety and for the safety of the people clearing the roads, please stay at home if you possibly can.
According to the governor, there was also a major traffic jam on I-85 that involved more than 100 vehicles.
And as Charlotte continues to dig out from this weekend's snowstorm, air traffic to North Carolina's Queen City is still attempting to recover. 800 flights were canceled on Sunday, and this morning the first flight out of the Salisbury Regional Airport to Charlotte, that is delayed until 6:45 a.m.
New this morning, Millsboro is considering a change to its town code that could allow food trucks year-round. Right now, they're only permitted during festivals and events, and according to the agenda, change would also allow businesses in the Highway Commercial District. Most trucks in the Millsboro area are only used for private parties and catering. Town Council will gather at 7 p.m. tonight to discuss this.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C., with the government in a partial shutdown. It's now up to the House to pass a funding bill to get it reopened. And this just in, tensions still high from the events in Minneapolis, and Democrats say how long it takes depends on reforms to immigration enforcement.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us how lawmakers are reacting as the House could vote on Tuesday.
House members returned to an icy Washington today, looking to unfreeze funding for large chunks of the government, now in a partial shutdown. House Speaker Mike Johnson predicting passage by tomorrow of a Senate-passed package that fully funds most of the government while splitting off the Department of Homeland Security.
I'm confident that we'll do it at least by Tuesday.
Congress then has 2 weeks to negotiate the immigration enforcement reforms Democrats are demanding, including ending roving ICE patrols and body cameras on all federal immigration officers. Speaker Johnson citing President Trump's border czar.
I think even Tom Homan has acknowledged both of those things are acceptable and what he was intending to do already. So I think we're on the path to get agreement.
The top Democrat in the House underscoring that path must lead to dramatic reform.
The administration can't just talk the talk. They need to walk the walk.
Some leading Democrats urging a no vote on even the short-term package, pressing to repeal a huge spike in funding ICE secured under last year's so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
I just don't see how in good conscience Democrats can vote for continuing ICE funding when they're killing American citizens.
That amid weekend vigils in Minneapolis for 2 people killed by federal immigration officers, Renee Good.
It's been very, very difficult.
And ICU nurse Alex Preddy.
He lived to help others, and that's what he did. And we were so fortunate to know him and have him as a friend.
Reminders of what's at stake as lawmakers look for agreement to reopen the government with key reforms. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The Maryland State Fire Marshal will continue investigating the cause of a house fire that killed 2 people in Wacomico County. According to the agency, the fire broke out just before 2:40 on Sunday morning, right here at the area on your screen. That's a home at Old Ocean City Road in Parsonsburg. If you take a look at the scene here in these photos, authorities say an off-duty firefighter rushed in and tried to rescue someone inside, but was overcome by heavy smoke and later flown to a hospital in stable condition. Officials say it took firefighters nearly 2 hours to put out the fire. And we do have more on this deadly house fire. You can head to the article that's on our website right now at CoastTV.com.
I have an important update on the Back the Blue event to tell you about that's honoring Delaware State Police Corporal Matthew Ty Snook, who was shot and killed in December. Now, due to extreme cold and icy conditions at Hudson Fields, organizers have now moved the event to the Georgetown DMV and are partnering with the Delaware Division of Motor Vehicles. The event will take place on February 8th from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will run rain or shine unless severe weather forces additional changes. And just like the video that we're showing you from events past, this is a drive-through where people may get a memorial sticker for their car.
And we're just getting started here on this hour of Coast TV News today.
Coming up, 2026 Olympic Winter Games prep. We'll show you how 2 places in Italy are getting ready as the countdown is on for later this week.
Also, cold weather poses pipe risk. What to do if you experience a rupture.
Still ahead, it is Groundhog Day, and we'll show you some special photos from a member of the Coast TV team and share their experience at the yearly tradition. And we have another meteorologist to tell you about, Chris Mastrobono, along with the groundhog. They are tracking whether we're getting a new spring, early spring, or more winter. We check in with Chris. There he is in the Weather Center next.
Today is Groundhog Day, and Phil right now is getting the last of his beauty rest. With this freezing cold weather recently, it seems like even more pressure is on him this year. And our very own Emma Aiken was actually there, had the honor of attending the tradition 2 years ago. You can see some of these photos on your screen. There were even fireworks at 6 a.m. And that year that Emma was there, you can see her smiling bright. Phil did not see his shadow and predicted an early spring. Now the question is, will it be the same this year? Well, I know one person we can ask is First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. Chris, I asked you earlier if you have a bit of a rivalry going on with this groundhog.
I mean, I'm not too fazed by him, but I think you will see his shadow today, and we are forecasting more winter temperatures here in the 7-day forecast, as you'll see a little bit later on. But yeah, another morning of single-digit wind chills, feeling like 7 in Lewis, and yes, that Arctic air has had its grip on the peninsula. 7 straight days we were below the freezing mark, and you see the record 12. We're not going to break that record. record, and that was set back in February 9th to the 20th of 1979. So we're going to make a run at the freezing mark today. I think some areas along the eastern shore get to 33. In fact, tomorrow, some areas on the peninsula will get to 40 degrees, and then we'll have a few more series of Arctic air shots by the end of the week and into the weekend. We'll talk about a few light snow chances this week as well, coming up in that full 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Chris. The Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, is enforcing a new policy for travelers without a real ID. Happening now, passengers will have to pay $45 fees in order to use an alternative identity verification system. TSA Confirm ID will be an option for those without a real ID, and passengers can use the alternative ID for a 10-day travel period. Other authorized forms of ID include a passport.
Trump administration has made its nomination for the next Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner. Brett Matsumoto currently serves as a senior economist on the Trump Council of Economic Advisors. Matsumoto previously served as a supervisor researcher at the Bureau, and the nomination requires confirmation from the Senate.
Growth on the coast. Well, we know it's a big issue. We have growing pains because everyone wants to live here. But it comes at a cost. Roads, infrastructure, development, a loss of open space. All of that creates conflict and concern.
CoastTV News has investigated all the deep-seated issues that brought us to where we are today. And on February 4th at 7 p.m., join us for a 1-hour special to help you understand the price of paradise, growth on the coast.
Arctic air has had its grip on Delmarva over the last week. We're going to make a run at the freezing mark today and we'll run at 40 degrees for our Tuesday with some light snow chances over the next week. I'll break all those snow chances down when CoastTV News Today continues.
Time is 6:20, and we are giving you a live look at the full moon. Look at that there over the Roosevelt Inlet in Lewis. And Chris, it is that moon that actually has you a little concerned about some of the high tides this morning.
Yeah, we had that coastal low that passed to our southeast over the weekend, that with higher than normal wave action. We had onshore winds yesterday coinciding with that full moon. That's why we have some minor flooding concerns this morning. But the good news is we have more of a northwest wind, so that may help us a bit as we go into the morning. We're at 20 degrees right now in Ocean View. We're holding at 21 in Lewis, 19 in Georgetown, 19 in Harrington. It's another morning of single-digit wind chills, feeling like 7 in Harrington and Milton, feeling like 6 in Rehoboth, as those winds gusting anywhere between about 15 to 25 miles an hour out of the northwest. So there's that coastal flood advisory up through 1 o'clock this afternoon for Sussex County. This is primarily through the next high tide cycle that arrives just after 7:50 through Indian River Inlet, Rehoboth, and Lewis. So we could be dealing with up to 1.5 feet of inundation in some of those low-lying areas, some of those tidal waterways. Make sure you use some caution driving around through the early morning hours. Now we're going to remain clear and dry today, mostly sunny skies. Our coastal low is lifting up to the Canadian Maritimes. That dropped snow across the Carolinas and Virginia. We're keeping an eye on the first of a series of clipper systems that will be impacting the region beginning Tuesday night. Look at the snow cover, dipping all the way down to Louisiana, Georgia. They saw flurries down in central Florida over the weekend, and yeah, we continue to see that snow and really that ice pack here on the peninsula. So there's those light snow chances Tuesday night and Wednesday, and then Friday. Enjoy the sunshine today, making a run at the freezing mark in Georgetown. 32 Snow Hill, 34 in Ocean Pines as we get a little melting through the afternoon. Now the winds will gust to 25 miles an hour, at least through the first part of the day. I think the winds are going to be relaxing through the overnight, so not much of a wind chill. These temperatures are going to be more kind of close to what we're going to see for overnight lows as we go into the tonight. So there's the clear skies. We stay clear and dry overnight, dipping back into the lower to mid-teens. We make a run of 40 degrees tomorrow, so that's going to be pretty nice, right? We'll definitely get some melting there. Clouds will be on the increase ahead of that clipper system that will bring moisture into the area as we go into the early morning hours of Wednesday, beginning as some snow, some mix, and some rain across the area. This is a brief, quick-hitting system, and you can see it's out of here by daybreak Wednesday. And then we're looking at drier conditions through the day on Wednesday. We're dry, cold into Thursday with another opportunity for some light snow as we go into Friday evening. The clipper systems, they're weak, they're quick hitting. They normally don't drop a lot of snow across the area. You normally like coating to 2-inch events. This one looks relatively light into Tuesday night. We're at the freezing mark, 32 degrees, wall-to-wall sunshine, 15 overnight under mainly clear skies. We're at 38 for your Tuesday. Sun to clouds with that overnight light snow opportunity. We're dry in through Wednesday, 36. We're back below 30 degrees into Thursday, and then we're looking at an opportunity for that light snow Friday night. And then, unfortunately, a cold Super Bowl weekend on Delmarva. We're back into the 20s with overnight lows in the single digits.
All right, thank you, Chris. Now, we've been talking a lot about this frigid weather. Take a look here. These are all burst pipes that one plumbing company has collected recently. The experts say once they burst, there's really no small solution. Plumbing technician Jeremiah Bull with Selby Family Plumbing says one key move probably could have prevented this.
This insulation here, you see it wet and frozen. It's very cold. So putting this insulation back, making sure everything's insulated, will help keep your pipes from freezing.
These experts, as well as other plumbing companies that we talked with, agree that running a steady stream of water is a more useful preventative measure than the drip method.
And experts say if your pipes do burst, turn off the water as soon as you notice it. Selby Family Plumbing says sometimes if you can catch it within an hour, pipes can be heated back up. But that most of the time, prevention is really the only solution. Remember, experts say another tip is opening your cabinets, especially below your sinks. That helps let the heat in.
Up next, 2026 Olympic Winter Games prep. How the events will be split between two places this year. Coast TV News Today is back after this.
Milan getting ready to co-host the 2026 Olympic Winter Games with the opening ceremony set to take place on February 6th. Milan will stage figure skating, ice hockey, short track, and speed skating in a mix of newly built and revamped venues. The 2026 Olympic Winter Games will run from February 6th to the 22nd, 2026, with the Paralympics to follow in March.
Cortina, a popular ski destination, is also gearing up to co-host the 2026 Winter Olympics alongside Milan. The town will host alpine skiing events and sliding sports. The 2026 edition will mark Italy's third Winter Olympics. Cortina first hosted in 1956. Most recent Italian games were staged in 2006.
And don't forget, the Winter Olympics run February 6th to the 22nd, only here on Coast TV.
Certainly looking forward to the hockey portion of the Winter Olympics. Taking a live look into Lewis, we have the full moon and some frigid wind chills this morning in the single digits. We're at 19 in Lewis. We still have coastal flooding concerns through high tide, which arrives after 7:50. Could see up to a foot of inundation across those low-lying areas, so keep that in mind. Wall-to-wall sunshine from Ocean City to Fenwick Island as we get to the freezing mark for the first time in a week. Mostly sunny skies through Lewis and Rehoboth. Just a beautiful day. Now, the winds will gust near 25 miles an hour, at least early on in the day, and then they'll relax through the afternoon, and we get to freezing. Some areas a little above that along the eastern shore. Karen Healy, congratulations of Millsboro, Delaware, on winning an umbrella from Coast TV. We'll talk about some light snow chances this week coming up in our next half hour.
Thank you, Chris. And after the break on Coast TV News today, partial government shutdown. Now lawmakers are reacting as they work on an agreement to reopen the government.
Also, Salisbury Airport impacts, how weather in North Carolina is causing problems for travelers here on Delmarva.
Plus, windy weather conditions. What major issue on the coast could be impacted by today's conditions? Coast TV News today continues after the break.
Now on Coast TV News.
It's another morning of single-digit wind chills on Delmarva, tracking plenty of sunshine. We creep above the freezing mark today. Can we actually do it for the first time in a week? Plus, details on some light snow chances this week.
Plus, winter road ride, the big freeze continues. Are our back roads any better?
Storm fallout hits flights. With the impact of this weekend's storm occurring south of us, how it still is having an effect at the Salisbury Airport.
In storms stir shoreline trouble, we look at the potential for erosion due to this current stretch of extreme cold weather.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Well, the top concern today is the wind and how it could impact Delmarva's coast. We have all eyes on the beaches to help us tell that story in these early morning hours, and how the storm across the Carolinas is impacting our beaches here on Delmarva.
Yeah, we're also giving you a live look at the First Alert Weather Jeep, and inside there, Elisa Weber. We'll speak with her in just a moment. And we're now taking a look at the Indian River Inlet. In the distance, you can actually see the beach and the water. Things look calm there. Now there's the bridge over the inlet, but it is a very, very cold Monday morning.
And exciting here, you're looking live at Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. And to quote the great Bill Murray, what did you say, Matt?
It's Groundhog Day. Again.
The festivities are underway as we await the analysis of whether or not we will have more winter or an early spring.
Yeah, February 2nd, 2026. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for joining us today.
6:33 a.m. In about a half hour, Grace, our buddy from Pennsylvania,
another PA guy,
could tell us this winter cold is over and spring is beginning.
This is a huge day for him. This is a huge day for a lot of people who are looking forward to some spring weather. And we asked Chris earlier in the show if there was actually a bit of a rivalry going on between you and this groundhog, Chris.
Not much of a rivalry as far as I'm concerned. I don't mind the groundhog as we take a live look into ocean view, and that certainly feels like winter this morning as the Arctic air continues to hold its grip on the peninsula. 19 degrees. We still do have a coastal flood advisory. This is primarily through the high tide cycle this morning. Could see up to 1.5 feet of inundation in low-lying areas. Look at these wind chills. Feels like 6 in Rehoboth, 8 Millsboro, 9 in Redden, 7 in Milton, and that's all thanks to northwest wind gusts anywhere between about 15 to 25 miles an hour. Now we have clear skies across the peninsula this morning. We are in for a mostly sunny day, tracking a clipper system back off to the west that will bring some light precipitation into the area tomorrow night. So enjoy the sunshine. We get to the freezing mark for the first time in nearly a week on the peninsula. I'll have more on the snow chances and more Arctic air down the road coming up in that full 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Chris. And our top story this morning is the cold weather and the road conditions. Chris has also mentioned that there is a coastal flood warning.
Yeah, our Lisa Weber is live in that first alert weather Jeep, among other places up and down the coast. She is checking out the scene in Rehoboth Beach, which does experience that type of flooding. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. We are now in Rehoboth Beach. We are in the back neighborhoods of Rehoboth because we want to take you through what these back roads are looking like. We're going to come up on a piece of ice right now. This is the scene on a lot of our roadways, but you do have to be careful because one street could be clear. The next could be filled with ice like this one right here. As you can see, that patch on your lower part of your screen. That is something you need to be aware of. This ice this morning, it is really building up in all of our areas just because of how cold it is outside. We said it was like 20 degrees, but it felt like 8 outside. So that's the perfect chance for everything to just freeze over overnight. And you just need to be careful if you are outside walking. We've already seen people outside this morning getting their exercise. You just want to be cautious of that. When you're walking your dog, you want to make sure your dog's feet are also protected with the salt, and make sure you give your car extra time to warm up this morning. But again, the really concern that we have is just the ice on the roadways. We're not seeing any problems with coastal flooding. It is windy outside and it is really cold. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa, and be sure to download the Coast TV app for your phone and tablet. We've been using it for our special coverage of storms. All of our news is always on this. You can also get the Coast TV streaming app for your TV with devices like Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
And the roads may be clear in Ocean City, but the freezing and windy conditions could still cause problems in the town. That is erosion. We spoke with one member who lives there, Howard Schwartz, who's staying at his second home to make sure that nothing is damaged during the cold snap. The conditions are bringing rough waves in Ocean City, which could contribute to erosion that's been an ongoing issue along Delmarva's coast.
The Delaware Department of Health and Social Services opening warming centers again. This round starts today through Friday, February 6th. They'll run from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sussex County, we got 3 to tell you about. We got the Shipley State Service Center, Adams State Service Center, also the Laurel State Service Center. There's 2 in Kent County, Williams State Service Center and Smyrna State Service Center. And then if you're up in Newcastle County, you got the Canby Park office, Claymont State Service Center, and Churchman's Corporate Center.
As those freezing temperatures continue and a lot of this ice just still hasn't melted yet, several schools across Delmarva will have 2-hour delays this morning. Some districts include Laurel, Seaford, and those in Caroline County, Dorchester County, and Talbot County. We do have a full list of closings and the delays, not only in schools, but in churches and other places as well, right at the top of our website on CoastTV.com.
As the snow tapers off in North Carolina, the National Weather Service's dangerous wind chills are expected. There is also a wind advisory with northwest winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour and gusts up to 55 miles per hour. They are as expected. Experts say temperatures across portions of western North Carolina likely to remain below freezing until at least this afternoon.
And as Charlotte is continuing to dig out from this weekend's snowstorm, air traffic to North Carolina's Queen City is still attempting to recover. 800 flights were canceled on Sunday, and this morning the first flight out of the Salisbury Regional Airport to Charlotte is delayed until just a few moments from now at 6:45 a.m.
New this morning, Millsboro considering a change to a town code that could allow food trucks year-round. Right now, they're only permitted during festivals and events. According to the town council agenda, a change would also allow these businesses in the highway commercial district. Most trucks in the Millsboro area are only used for private parties and catering. Town council is meeting at 7 p.m. to discuss this.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. on this Monday morning. The sun yet to come up as the U.S. government is still in a partial shutdown.
And hours before Friday's deadline arrived, the Senate reached an agreement on a funding bill. However, that deal isn't official until the House votes on the matter.
John Lawrence now showing us how it appears there are still some things that need to be worked out.
The U.S. starts a new week without Washington, D.C. running at full throttle.
The question mark over a government shutdown is certainly a big one and a political problem, really for both parties, but certainly for Republicans right now, as the polling is showing a great deal more pressure on them.
On Tuesday, the House is expected to vote on the funding package that passed through the Senate last week.
Because of the conversation I had with Hakeem Jeffries, I know that we've got to pass a rule and probably do this mostly on our own. I think that's very unfortunate.
The legislation backs most government agencies through much of the year, except the Department of Homeland Security, which will only get funded for 2 weeks while lawmakers work to reform DHS's immigration operations.
Body cameras should be mandatory. Masks should come off. Judicial warrants should absolutely be required, consistent with the Constitution in our view, before DHS agents or ICE agents are breaking into the homes of the American people or ripping people out of their cars.
This partial government shutdown is expected to last until at least Tuesday, while Washington, D.C. tries to come to some sort of agreement.
So I think it's all of our responsibilities to reopen the government.
I'm not just a no, I'm a firm no, and I'm going to advocate with colleagues that they vote no.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, conserving energy in the cold, what you can do to prevent higher electric bills.
Also, streaking Sixers have Philly stacks up against the Clippers at the start of a West Coast trip.
Plus, farm animals in the cold, what you need to know, and how people are keeping them safe. Stay with us on CoastTV News Today.
Well, we say so long to January, and boy, was it a wild month. We had a stretch of 60-degree temperatures the second week of the month, and then this brutally cold stretch we had to round out the month. We ended the month with an average temperature of 32.3 degrees, which was about nearly 5 degrees below the average. And then as far as total precip is concerned, we had about just under 3.5 inches. So we were over that as far as our precipitation is concerned. Now, looking ahead to February, slightly below normal temperatures for much of the mid-Atlantic. And as far as precipitation goes, well, we're slightly normal outlook here going on through the rest of the month. We'll have a look at the rest of your week ahead in that full 7-day forecast here in a few minutes.
Well, while most of us are bundling up to stay warm, farmers say we can't forget about the animals. With cold weather moving into our area, protecting livestock becomes even more important. Courageous Hearts is one of the many places here in Delaware with farm animals trying to keep their livestock protected from this bitter cold. Farmers say that some horses need a little extra care, so they use blankets or covers to keep them warmer because they might not have as thick of a coat of hair. However, they say that cows and donkeys generally do pretty well in these cold temperatures.
Later tonight, the 76ers begin a 5-game West Coast swing starting in Los Angeles against a Clipper team that has won 10 of their last 12 games to get back into the Western Conference playoff race. Sixers are on a bit of a roll, too. They've won 3 in a row. Tyrese Maxey leading the 76ers in scoring, averaging over 29 points a game. And then there's this guy, Joel Embiid, coming off a 40-point effort Friday night against New Orleans. Sixers continue their efforts to avoid the play-in round. They got a 10 o'clock tip-off tonight. Last night in the district, Washington wins a battle of last-place teams, 116-112 over the Kings. Will Riley scored a season-high 18 points, including that go-ahead three-pointer with 2:07 to go, and Washington actually has won 3 of their last 4. Another embarrassing loss by Maryland on Sunday in College Park. 12th-ranked Purdue rolls to a 30-point win over the Terrapins. It's a third straight loss for the Terps, all of them by 19 or more points. Maryland is now 8-13 on the season. And don't forget the Super Bowl airs right here on Coast TV. Sunday, February 8th. Pregame starts at 1. Kickoff is at 6:30 p.m.
And coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night live at 5:15. Queen Anne's takes on North Carolina girls basketball. Then catch the final score at 10:30. Now exclusively on DSN Plus, along with that game we just mentioned at 4:30 p.m. You can watch Sussex Central face off against Laurel in girls basketball. At 5:15, Concord visits Sanford in boys basketball. And also at 6 p.m., at Chincoteague visits Salisbury School. Now here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4 p.m.
Hope you're having a good day so far here along coastal Delmarva. If you join us today at 4, here's what's coming up on Coast Life. It's a new month, and February is actually a great time to take a look at that HVAC system. Make sure everything is running right, or if you need an upgrade. We'll get into the details of that. Also, our friends at Sussex Academy have a fantastic animal program. We're getting in touch with our wild side today. And Valentine's Day is coming up. You're going to need a good date night spot. We've got that too. All of that and so much more is coming your way on Coast Life.
Well, we're getting into the freezing mark for the first time in a week under mostly sunny skies, so that's a step in the right direction if you're tired of the cold. We're pushing in near 40 tomorrow, but we are going to throw in some light snow chances through the week. I'll break those down coming up next.
6:49 a.m. as we're taking a live look out into Laurel. We got a nice sunrise reveal of the day today, Chris, on Groundhog Day.
Yeah, we got the sunshine on our side, and we're going to get to near the freezing mark. That's pretty good, stepping in the right direction. Got the full moon out there this morning. We have it all. Lewis, clear skies, very cold out there. We're at 19 degrees. Once again, seeing wind chills in the single digits. We're at 19 in Milton, 22 in Ocean City. When you factor in the wind, yeah, very cold out there, feeling like 6 in Rehoboth. 8 Delmar, feeling like 11 in Georgetown, stepping out the door this morning. Now, winds right now anywhere between about 10 to 22 miles an hour. We'll see a few gusts through the morning to 25. Now, we still do have that coastal flood advisory in effect for all of coastal Sussex County through 1 o'clock. This is primarily for the next high tide cycle, which arrives after 7:50. Could be dealing with up to 1.5 feet of inundation. This is just some residual effects from our coastal low, the full moon, and the higher than normal surf that we have had across the Delmarva Peninsula. So we are clear and dry. You can see the coastal low lifting up into the Canadian Maritimes that brought snow to the Carolinas and Virginia. This is going to be the first of a series of clipper systems that bring us some slight snow chances through the week. Look at the snowpack extending from the Minnesota all the way down to Louisiana. Georgia, they had some flurries down in central Florida. It's been a while. It was a wild week with that Arctic air across the United States. And there's those light snow opportunities as we go into Tuesday night and Friday evening. Mostly sunny skies. Right around 32, 33 across the eastern shore this afternoon. Wind chill won't be a huge factor. We'll see wind chills in the 20s today, and then those winds are going to be pretty relaxed, I think, as we go into the overnight. So temperatures falling from the freezing mark this afternoon back into the lower to mid-teens under mainly clear skies. We'll start with sunshine Tuesday, and then we'll begin to see those clouds roll in late in the afternoon. And then there's the mix and snow rolling in just after about midnight on Wednesday morning. And this is a clipper, so these are generally weak, quick moving systems. Could pick up a quick coating here as we go into early Wednesday morning, but it's out of here by the morning rush. We dry things out by Wednesday and Thursday before the next clipper rolls in. There's another chance of some light snow. Again, these clippers are generally weak, don't really produce a lot of snow. But that clipper coming in Friday is going to bring another batch of Arctic air in, unfortunately. 29 into Thursday, 36 on Friday with that late snow chance. And then, yeah, we're back in the 20s, unfortunately, for Super Bowl weekend. But the good news is no big storm systems this weekend, and we're looking at overnight lows back into the single digits.
Thank you, Chris. And due to this extreme cold Everyone wants to stay warm, but using more energy means higher electric bills.
Yeah, we actually spoke with 2 electric companies who say it takes much more energy to warm a house in these conditions, so measures you take in your home can better help the entire power grid.
Delaware Electric Cooperative says it's always better to be over-prepared. Maybe that means having an emergency kit that includes medications you may need, or even things like pet food, plus an emergency plan with friends and family.
And if you're worried about higher than usual energy bills, Delaware Municipal Electric Corporation says conservation is key.
We need lower usage, but this time it's going to be usually between the hours of 6 and 9 a.m. because of how cold it gets overnight. So during the summer, it's pretty much after work, but in the wintertime, it's in the morning when everyone's HVAC units are turning on.
And experts say humidifier may help you feel warmer because moist air actually traps heat better.
Yeah, it's a better alternative. Experts say then that using a space heater, that uses a lot of energy and may raise the cost of your power bills.
And the time is now 6:52 a.m. It is time to check in with our very young coastal pet of the day.
Yeah, let's take a look here. On your screen right now is Dakota. Dakota is a 15-week-old Rox Red Labrador Retriever, and Dakota was submitted to us by Peggy in Georgetown.
We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Maybe you want to send us some photos of them as a puppy and tell us what makes your pet so special. You can take a look at your screen now.
Yep, scan that QR code top center, get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature. We have one final check with First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. We're having a sunny day today. It's just not going to be a warm one.
Right, and we're all kind of on the same wavelength with our icy blue today. This wasn't coordinated at all. I think we're all just so bitter and frigid cold that we all were reaching for a little icy color today, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Delmarva Peninsula has been, well, a sheet of ice basically for the last week. And once again, wind chills in the single digits this morning, feeling like 7 in Bethany Beach, 7 in Ocean City, 8 in Cambridge. This will be the last morning, I think, of single-digit wind chills. By tomorrow morning, temperatures are going to be in the teens, but we are going to see it gradually warming up. Look at the temperatures today. We get above the freezing mark for the first time in a week. Wall-to-wall sunshine. Winds will pick up a bit through the morning, gusting to 25, and then they'll relax through the afternoon, and then we'll eventually fall back into the teens overnight into Tuesday morning. You can always call our CoastTV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast, sponsored by Brockstead Mundalis Federico. Now, your 10-day forecast shows 38, some areas getting to 40 degrees tomorrow. A weak clipper system is going to bring around some light snow overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. It's out of here by Wednesday morning, 36. We're back down to 29 into Thursday. Another chance of some light snow arrives Friday night through Saturday, and that front is going to bring in another round of Arctic air, but it's a brief shot lasting about 3 days, and then we're back up into the lower to mid 40s by a week from this Tuesday.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you for joining us for Coast TV News today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV News midday at 11.
And don't forget to download our Coast TV News and weather apps. I got mine up here, checking out the temperatures today. It's not going to be that warm. Have a great Monday morning, everybody.